son his wristband after last night's win. He's going to treasure that forever.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Put it on eBay, Matty.
Don't tell him
Sell
that.
it.
Shut up.
Sell it.
Don't listen to Uncle Tony. He didn't know anything.
You can prove it because it's out on their Instagram. Cleveland showed that on their Instagram. This is definitive proof that these are the wristbands.
Very nice.
Your kid
Authentication.
Your kid could make college money. He wouldn't have to go to Northwestern.
You really want to suggest that on national TV? Huh? You want to start like Christmas week, Hanukkah? You want to go there? Huh?
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Cowboys get a break. The Seahawks take a big L.
Huge.
And Jerry Richardson puts the Panthers up for sale. But we begin today with the best and most meaningful game in the NFL so far, New England and Pittsburgh. The last 3 minutes of that game are the greatest the NFL has to offer. Perhaps the most. Are you at peace with that call?
No, I'm not at peace with any of the calls where the league can't decide what a catch is. A league that's nearly 100 years old and can decide whether to use the greatest things that technology has to offer or go Flintstone. It still can't determine what a catch is. There's three things you need in football: a throw, a run with the ball, or a catch. And they can't get it right. It was a great game.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh did some bonehead things after that. First and second and third down. What are you doing? You don't need to do that. Run the ball. You got Le'Veon Bell. You don't need a timeout. You got 28 seconds. You can spike it. Don't play into New England's hands. And they did. But I'm not at peace with any of the catch rulings yesterday, and starting with that one.
I'm completely fine with it because it's the rule. You could assemble
Change
100
the rule.
That's a different thing.
But it's not different. I'm not at peace with it.
You want to change the rule, change the rule.
it.
It's been in there since Dez Bryant. They haven't changed it. I'm fine with the call. Pittsburgh still could have won that game.
They could have.
Okay, but Ben Roethlisberger went to a little bit of trickeration.
Yeah,
I had company in my house. I'm still watching the game. They are sitting at the table. And suddenly everybody in the house hears this. Oh, my God, it's Seattle. It's Seattle. One more time, because that's the interception.
The
now
Super Bowl.
Now it's 5-0. The last five
Yes,
games.
they've beaten them.
There's a couple of things that need to be said. One is Pittsburgh, you're at home. You get a field goal. You don't do this other stuff.
No,
you get a field goal and you go to overtime.
Or you run the ball and then spike it if you have to stop the clock if you don't get in.
2 words about Rob Gronkowski. He's great. He dominated that game.
He need to? We're going to get into behavior
Dominated the game.
We knew that coming. We
well, they
middle
lost,
of the field,
they lost
no
in
Ryan
Miami.
Shazier.
That's right.
We thought that could happen.
That's right.
Gronk has to behave badly.
I want to see this again.
What is that?
I want to
what
see
is
this in the playoffs. This was, by the way, this was the highest-rated NFL game all year.
Those
I
look
want
like
to
the
see
two
this
best
in the
teams, right?
playoffs because it's going to be absolutely thrilling.
No,
and I hope Antonio Brown
is not
healthy.
Be thrilling.
Why?
Because the Patriots will beat their brains out. You know what the Steelers seem? They seem a little flawed because the same sort of intellect that characterizes the New England play decade after decade, the last 20 years, it characterizes the Steelers play even more decades. But that team now seems to do dumb things, and I don't know why that is. Because they're a smart team. They've proven it over. They got 2 Super Bowls, some of these people. What are they doing?
I want to see it again.
You know what? It'll be a blowout if it happens the next time. Blowout.
Okay.
Even Tony Dungy, a former Steeler, when Rodney Harrison, a former Patriot, tried to say, oh, yeah, Pittsburgh can win that game, Tony said, no, they can't. He's right. There's so much NFL drama to get to, like in Oakland, where the Raiders might have lost a game on a first down mark determined by a folded index card. Unable, apparently, to determine whether the nose of the ball actually reached the yard marker, referee Gene Steratore resorted to what the NFL calls now a legal but very unusual method of marking a ball. Tony, did that cost the Raiders the game, or did your boy Derek Carr do that a few minutes later?
Yeah, I'll get to Derek Carr. I want to start with the index card. It did not cost them the game. This is not science. This is an approximation. Doesn't matter how many cameras are out there. It's sort of guesswork as to where the spot goes. The ball's big and it's fat, and you don't know exactly where it goes.
There was space.
You know,
the camera showed me that at home.
No.
There was space.
You know, I
between the ball and the marker. That's short of the line to gain.
This is Gene Steratore's Academy Award-winning moment.
I don't want him to have a
moment. You know what he should have done? He shouldn't have had an index card. He should have had a $20 bill, and when he was done, he should have put it in Jack Del Rio's pocket as a payoff for costing him. He don't know. Derek Carr's play cost them the game. They had time. There's 5 minutes left.
They were there. They're going to win the game. They're going to win the game. They're going to make me 15-1 in the confidence pool this week, atop the leaderboard.
Money, 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 money.
Instead, a play that now every high school quarterback ought to know. Listen, I know we've done this maybe when you were a freshman and a sophomore, but you can no longer toss the ball at the pylon
right.
and have it go out of the end zone and have it. It's an idiot play.
Right.
It's even dumber. Roethlisberger may be my favorite quarterback in the league. I love Ben.
But you didn't like that play.
I didn't like his play.
Throwing that pass.
And then Carr, and this play is too dumb.
Yeah.
Carr's play is inexplicably stupid because you're watching it 2 and 3 times a week. What is he doing?
They're the most disappointing team in the AFC.
Once again.
No, they are. Well, no, you usually think it's the Chargers or something like that. But to go back to the spot of the ball, it's not an exact science. You have to live with it.
Don't
it's
use
an
an index
approximation.
card. Seriously?
It's an approximation.
What are they, the Flintstones?
No,
Barney
it's not
Rubble?
the Flintstones. No,
it's
an approximation.
Pull out
you're going to have a grid on the entire...
You want to double? Why would you want to triple it and fold it over? Make it thicker. So you can make them miss the first down by even more.
Last week, we were all ready to count out the Philadelphia Eagles when they lost Carson Wentz.
7,
Yesterday,
8, 9, 10.
Nick Foles threw 4 touchdown passes, and the Eagles, as usual, went over 30 points. Now, granted, they were playing the helpless New York Giants, and they never broke away. But, Wilbon, did Nick Foles' performance lead you to believe that the Eagles should not be counted out?
What am I doing right now?
You're counting out. You want to count him out?
Arthur Mercante.
You want to count him out?
7, 8, 9.
He was a starter in the league for that team.
I like to be antagonistic sometimes, particularly toward, I-95 teams. Foles is good. I never understood why they got rid of him. And then it worked out again because they got Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Foles is good. Foles may be the best backup in the league. Now the Garoppolo's not a backup anymore.
Right.
Foles may be that. But this is the Giants. So Foles did exactly what he and the Eagles needed to do, should do. They were fine. They won a game against a homecoming opponent. But it is still a homecoming opponent. So he's got to do that against somebody else before I declare them in the Super Bowl.
That's fine. But here's the notion that I want to present to you. That maybe that's a really good team. They can really run the ball.
They are really good.
And they've got quality receivers. Yeah. And maybe a quarterback can step in there. And there are certain teams, we saw it in Green Bay, it didn't work out. It
didn't work anywhere.
But maybe you can step in with the Eagles, especially somebody who has background in that city and has been a starter there before. And maybe we shouldn't do the Arthur Mercante.
No, I was doing that to be ridiculous. I think you're possibly right. But we can't, when the jury has to come in, not right after the Giants game.
But you look around at the NFC where there is no clear favorite.
That's right.
Because you would look at Case Keenum in Minnesota
yet. I know you don't.
And you don't trust the defense of New Orleans completely, and you can't trust Carolina. Seattle is gone.
They're done.
And the Rams were 3-13 last year.
Rams, wow.
So,
wow.
The
Rams, we'll get to that.
The
Eagles might have won, but no way did they look as impressive yesterday as the Rams, who stunningly dismantled those Seahawks in Seattle. It was Pete Carroll's worst home loss as a coach. And it had to be humiliating for him to watch his quarterback, Russell Wilson, get sacked 7 times, tossed around like a ragdoll, Tony.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley equally had his way with the Seahawks' once formidable, now laughable defense. Tony, what jumps out at you most, the Rams' dominance or Seattle's ineptitude?
I think we're probably going to disagree on this one because the Rams jump out to me.
Okay.
The Rams are really good at this point.
They are.
Seattle is known for its defense. The Rams would run a reverse, and then the Rams would run a screen pass, and Seattle was woefully slow and didn't know what was going on.
Second and third team guys.
34-0 at the half. I mean, to me, the Rams are a wonderment to me.
They are. And everything you said, yes, check. The story is the Seattle Seahawks are done. Talk about wanting to count somebody out. 7, 8, 9, boom, bell, go to your corner, get your cut man. They got to start over. They're done. Because you can't just say, okay, when Richard Sherman comes back, you can't just do the whole list of when somebody comes back. On the offensive side of the ball, they've been living on Russell Wilson, who played miraculously for like 3/4 of the season.
Last 2 games,
and now
he's out. He's not the
He's
MVP.
got entire defenses saying, they stink. We're not going to let him beat us.
Let me go over this, though. Because the Rams were 3-13 last year.
Yeah.
Jared Goff was considered a tremendous bust last year. Todd Gurley had a bad year last year. Todd Gurley now has, and I go to the glasses, he's got 17 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, the bust, has 24 touchdown passes and only 7 picks.
Coaching.
They are
coaching.
Bing. Okay?
Coaching.
It is Sean McVay and it is Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
And if you're the Redskins, do you ever say to yourself, I know he's young. How do we let this guy go?
Because every club
what if he's special?
Well, no, there's no what if. He's proving that now before our eyes.
It's coaching. We don't say that a lot.
Well, not lately.
It's
because we got crazy moves. By the way, in that earlier segment, it's like I blame Ben Roethlisberger for the whole thing. I don't want to do that. What is that play being called for? Why are they calling that with Le'Veon Bell? You don't have your best receiver. Your best receiver is getting his calf checked in the hospital. We love Mike Tomlin, do we not?
We do.
Is that not coaching somewhere? Offensive coordinator, Haley, whoever.
Unless that came from the quarterback himself and said, let's go.
I can't believe it.
After publication of an article in Sports Illustrated detailing questionable behavior, which resulted in multiple secret payments to employees, Jerry Richardson announced last night he would sell the Carolina Panthers after this season concludes. Wilbon, what does this mean for the team and the league?
Tony, I don't know. I'm not looking big picture here. I'm looking smaller picture. This reminds me of the clown out at the Clippers a few years ago that had to be bumped aside. Donald Sterling. This reminds me of that, even if it's not as severe as that. It's spectacularly crash-landed as that. There are elements of it. And I don't know what it means. It means that he's going to make $2 billion because he bought it for $200 million. He's going to sell it for $2 billion. So I don't care about that. And the league's going to have another owner in March right now, so I don't care about them. I'm thinking about the employees who had to endure whatever they had to endure. I'm wondering what exactly it is he said of a racial nature that would cause a scout to successfully get money, sue him, and win. And there's elements here where you go, really? I mean, Jerry Richardson, like how long did people know about behavior that should have been checked?
So the first thing I thought of about this was I did think of Adam Silver and Donald Sterling, and I thought that in this particular case, the league stepped right in. Because who does the league want to be an owner? A former player. Of course they want a former player to be an owner.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I will bet this, that they went to Jerry Richardson very quickly and said, we're going to let you walk out of here. And we're going to let you make money on this deal, but you have to walk now because we absolutely cannot have this. In terms of what it means to the league, they bring in another owner, they're fine. Maybe Michael Jordan sells the basketball team, buys a football team. I don't know. In terms of what it means to the team, it doesn't mean as much as if Cam Newton has a good day. I mean, owners actually hurt teams more than they help teams because they think they know more than everybody.
There was an emotional nature when Cam Newton had to answer that for the second time. And they said, hold on. I'm being presented with things here, asking questions that I can't.
I don't know anything
about. And I thought he handled that so well.
I don't know anything
By the way, you mentioned the ex-player of part of this, George Halas and this guy. They're the only two, right?
That's what you want.
Two people in the history of the NFL.
Let's take a break. Coming up, can the Packers put their loss on the return of Aaron Rodgers?
And is it too soon to say the 49ers have found their franchise quarterback?
So you're convinced that Roethlisberger pass was called by the sideline?
I don't know.
What?
I'm just saying if it was, I don't want to put the blame on Ben if he didn't do it.
Well, it sounded like you said
no, I just said I don't want to.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Captain Morgan. Holiday like a captain. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour. And in part by Verizon. Best gifts on the best network.
It's mail time. Let me see what treasures await us here.
Don't be sarcastic.
Were you expecting more out of Aaron Rodgers?
No, Aaron Rodgers was going to be rusty. He was a little rusty through those picks. But he also had his team in position with a nice slant pass completion, I think inside the 30-yard line, with time left to tie the game. And they're at Carolina, a better team than them, on the road against a team with the same incentive, get to the playoffs. And so Aaron Rodgers had his team in position to go to overtime. What more do you want from Aaron Rodgers?
Receiver dropped the ball.
Receiver
dropped the ball. Look, we talked about this before. It's a great fairy tale story. But at Carolina, Minnesota, at Detroit, that's tough.
Too hard. It was too hard.
That's tough. Yeah. I think something should be said about the team, Carolina, now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they don't score a tremendous amount of points. I believe they're 12th overall in scoring points. But they've won a lot of games. They just got Greg Olsen back. They're good. Yeah. They've been there before. It's like the reason you look at Carolina and Atlanta with some trepidation is because they've actually gotten to there recently.
Cam, I think in the last 4 games has gone 11 touchdowns to 1 pick. He's on a roll. Yeah. Hot quarterback, good defense. That can get you a ways. We've seen it happen.
Yes.
All right, this really is directed at you because I didn't bail on him. Can we trust the Chiefs again?
No.
Oh, you're still not going all in?
I'm going to tell you why.
You're going to ride with Derek Fumbleitis Carson?
I'm going to tell you why you can't trust the Chiefs again.
Why not?
Because the middle of their season was truly terrible. And it wasn't 1 or 2 games. It was like 5 or 6 games. Okay. Now, what you like about them is the way they beat Oakland and the way they beat the Chargers tells you that in must games, which are playoff games, single elimination games, you can like them. The bad news for them is New England and Pittsburgh. Now, they beat New England in the first game of the year.
Say, wait a minute.
They did. So it's not a question of trust them, but you can look and say, okay.
I got an analogy. And this doesn't get me all the way where I want to go, but trust them, Kansas City, been a long time since they've been to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to use this analogy. Suppose they're the Los Angeles Dodgers. They got off to the great start.
Okay.
They had
That's
the bad
interesting.
Middle.
Yeah.
They now got a chance to get hot again going into the playoffs.
And maybe they didn't actually win.
I said they didn't actually win. They lost to Houston.
Didn't actually win.
But they got there.
Yeah,
and so if Kansas City can get there, that's a step further.
I thought you said only dumb stuff today, but that was good.
Oh, okay.
Is
that a concession?
Here's one you really know a lot about.
What?
Has Blake Bortles won you over?
No. No, he hasn't. And you know why? This is interesting, Tony, because the Jaguars are in a position. Look, the Jaguars are not completely unlike the Rams. They don't look as good as the Rams, but they go out there and they win most weeks.
They look as good defensively.
Bortles now even has good games statistically.
Oh, yes.
Where he completes passes, he throws between 260 and 320 yards, and yet every day there's a tweeting defensive player who just played against him who says, I hate Bortles, he's a bum. What is up with that?
In his last 3 starts, he's got 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they're 3-0. I think what it's about is this. First of all, we don't know anything about him or that team.
He must be chesty.
We don't know.
Why do all these guys hate him? Guys don't hate on quarterbacks in the league.
At the beginning of the year, their new coach, Doug Marrone, was asked, ideally, how many passes would your quarterback throw in any given game? And he said, ideally, none.
Yeah.
So when you say ideally none, you have to step back from Blake
He's
Bortles
getting better.
He is.
You know what? I'm impressed with them, and I trust them. I got to see more of him, if that makes any sense.
Marrone's got to be pretty good,
He must be. It's his second go-round, right, as a head coach?
He walked away from Buffalo. It seemed crazy.
And
it seemed
he must
crazy.
have known what he was doing. He traded up about 60 degrees in your part of the world.
Yeah, I did.
Is it still too soon to say the Niners have found their franchise quarterback?
No, it's not too soon at all. They found their franchise quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, who, if you watch him carefully, how quickly he gets rid of the ball, sometimes sidearm, sometimes overhead, he looks like Aaron Rodgers. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but he looks like Aaron Rodgers. They gave him 3 starts. I think he won all 3. They're a lousy team.
Yeah.
And he's 3-0. So this closes the door on Kirk Cousins going to San Francisco.
You really would think
I
that.
would think so.
I would think that, too.
This kid's a pro.
See a bigger sample size.
He didn't play in New England because it's Tom Brady.
I know, but we've seen backups historically get their shot, and then it didn't work. What about Mr. Flynn, who wound up getting beat out by Russell Wilson?
Doesn't it look like it's working here?
It looks like it is, but 3 games, you can go crazy with that if you want. Garoppolo looks great.
Yeah.
The 49ers went out and won a road dog game against the Bears, where they just beat a terrible team. But they've won these next 2 games. Maybe they go out. Suppose they win 5 straight to end the season. You count on him. You go with him. You don't sign your boy, Kirk Cousins. Okay.
Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the NFL hands down discipline for this hit by the Panthers' Thomas Davis.
Is Kobe Bryant's double jersey retirement must-see TV tonight?
Do you think he should have 2 jerseys retired? 8 and 24?
I think he should have 1. And I'd like to ask Kobe which one.
How about if you added 8 and 24 and got 32, how about 16?
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Captain Morgan. Holiday like a captain. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 71st birthday, Steven Spielberg, the great American director. Spielberg has been nominated for 7 Best Director Oscars, winning for Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. His newest movie, The Post, about publication of the Pentagon Papers, opens wide this week with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep, who've been nominated about 1,000 times themselves. Wilbon, your favorite Spielberg movie?
Raiders of the Lost Ark, Color Purple, Saving Private Ryan.
And
there's 10 more I love, at least.
Close Encounters is actually
mine. You like the Post movie? You saw it?
Yes, I like that a lot.
Okay.
Happy anniversary, Ezekiel Elliott. On this day last year, you celebrated a Cowboys touchdown by jumping into a giant Salvation Army kettle. Now, that was a light and good moment. A lot lighter and a lot better than the behavior that led to his recent 6-game suspension. Elliott is eligible to return this week. Cowboys are 8-6. Each of their last 2 remaining games is a playoff elimination game for them.
Home against Seattle, at Philly. I hope the league suspends Juju Smith-Schuster for his celebration yesterday. It was in such poor taste. What hideous, idiotic behavior.
Speaking of suspensions, happy trails, Thomas Davis. The Panthers linebacker was suspended 2 games for this helmet-to-helmet blindside block that gave Green Bay's Davante Adams a concussion. Davis apologized to Adams on Twitter. That wasn't good enough for the NFL. Just last month, Davis was fined almost $50,000 for an illegal hit on a Bucs receiver. Wilbon, did Davis deserve 2 games here?
Really, I don't know, but I thought he looked contrite. I thought he looked emotionally shaken on the sideline. You're trying to assess those things not being there, but I thought that showed some contrition.
I know you feel this too. There's an upheaval, obviously, at ESPN, and John Skipper has left. He's been very, very good to this show. and we wish him the very, very
Absolutely,
best.
Tony. I do feel that it was depressing, really. Seeing the announcement, I feel his support, his championing this show, and something more newly for me that I've been involved in, a lot of us, the Undefeated. These are important things to us, and he has been there for us for a long time.
Let's go to the big finish. The Browns are now 0-14, but they get the Bears. Your thoughts?
You know my fears. I told you this for 4 weeks. The Browns are going to get a win. Andrew Luck's going to return to Indy this week, start throwing. Hope to avoid another surgery. Dr. TK.
Yeah, I fear another surgery. Anything but another surgery.
He's got to get back out there.
He's
got to, you know.
Isaiah Thomas targeting his Cavs debut in early January. Is that a big deal?
Enormous deal. You're going to add him to the roster, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
They look good now.
Drop LeBron, another weapon out there.
They look good now.
Brad Shepard reports that Vince McMahon is looking at bringing back the XFL. You in favor of that?
No, it was not it was out there for a week and a half. The ratings tanked.
It was
in the
spectacular
third
for
week.
2 weeks.
No.
That was it.
Last one, Kobe Bryant is getting both jerseys retired tonight. Shouldn't it be just one?
Look, I'm in favor of retiring whatever Kobe wants, but I'm the number 8 guy. What about you? 824, which one?
24, actually. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Now we send you to Susie Culver and Monday Night Countdown in Tampa.
If you're at Burns Steakhouse tonight, why don't you send us a couple of steaks? Porterhouse bone-in.
They're
Thank
not
you.
at Burns. What are you talking about?